Hi, Pat the Podcast Editor here. How do you start or restart a successful business without the budget? Well, this week, Dan and Lloyd discussed what they would change if they had to start over on a shoestring.
Look for inspiration from the people that have done this best. What are Gymshark doing to reach new customers? So a business like that that's grown crazily over the last few years. Finding parts of really successful businesses and emulating that.
From knowing your market to the way you can reach the most people for free, you'll hear about actionable steps that you can apply to your business, whatever the level you're at.
The type of things I've seen on TikTok that really pop in the kind of creative world is videos showing the process of creating your product. The opportunity to reach thousands and thousands of people for free is massive on there.
Right, let's get stuck in. Notepads at the ready. This is episode 97 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
If we were to start a brand new business today but had minimal budget, what would you do to drive revenue and build this brand, Dan?
That's a good question. A whole range of things that we're probably going to discuss in this podcast episode, I would have thought.
Hopefully, yeah. So I'd be so excited to. I don't know why. I would feel excited to start again and build a business from nothing.
We've even spoken about this before. Mm-hmm. So when the pandemic hit and everything, and no one knew what was going on, and we thought our business could go to nothing. We both honestly looked at each other and said to each other, if our business completely goes to nothing, which hopefully it doesn't, we're both confident that we can build something else together.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of all of the lessons we've learned along the way. It's not because we're brilliant. It's because we've made lots of mistakes and learned how to do things well and not so well. And all of that experience has led us to where we are today. And hopefully in this podcast, we're going to share kind of what we would do, knowing what we know now. And I also think because of talking about the pandemic, lots of people... kind of careers have been shaken up. Lots of people have started businesses, and also lots of people probably don't have a massive budget that start a new business. So I thought this is a good kind of episode to talk about that.
Also, can I give a shout out to a business that I think's done this well?
Go on.
Shout out to Pot Gang.
Is it to do with gardening?
Yeah, there's a business local to here that started a subscription for vegetable seeds because people were gardening more and stuff, and I saw recently, and they've been really creative on social, and they've got these cartoon veg for each of the different and their characters and stuff. I think it's really cool. And they're recently hiring for more positions and stuff, and it seems like they're doing really well. I just think it's a good example of how this can be done and how you can use creativity and clever ways to market to grow your business. But anyway, shout out Pot Gang.
Yeah.
Check them out. I think on Instagram they're probably got the most stuff, Pot Gang, if you're into growing veg.
So I want us to, this is a bit of a different episode because I'm quite excited to talk about this as well. I want us to actually both have a bit of a discussion and think about if we were starting a business today with minimal budget, what the kind of process would look like.
Yeah.
So can I start?
Yeah.
So if I was starting a business today with minimal budget, the first thing I'd do would be to really spend time, which is what I have, because I have time, not a massive budget, looking at developing a strategy first of all. I think this is the first kind of hurdle that a lot of businesses make a mistake with, is just, we're starting a business, let's just dive in and let's sign up to every social media account and let's start creating content and let's do this and that, and without any clear direction. It's just, let's just do everything.
I think people get excited, which is fair enough.
We would.
I'd be exactly the same, and I am just thinking about it. But people just get excited and start doing stuff, and in reality, so much of that time is wasted effort. And at the moment, like Dan said, what you have is time when you start out. So that time is really valuable, and it's really vital you use it on the things that are going to get you the most return for your investment of that time.
Yeah. And when it comes to coming up with that strategy, there's a few really key areas I'd focus on. So starting out, the kind of key thing to think about is, who is it you're trying to convince to do something? Who is it you're trying to convince to buy your product or sign up to your service? And I'm sorry, I just burped. And so I don't just mean like what's their age, what gender are they, where do they live. Really spend some time thinking about what do these people actually give a shit about? What are they talking about with their friends when they pick the kids up from school? What kind of TV shows are they watching? What interests do they have? What kind of language do they use? Because then you can start to work backwards and actually build a strategy that's targeted to the people you actually want to draw in, rather than just a generic strategy.
Can I add something onto that as well that's slightly outside of marketing but vital for your business not to fail as well? At this stage, when you're working this stuff out and putting a strategy together, work out like, if my business went well, I'd have this many customers, they'd be paying this much for this, and work out that the finances actually add up. Because I've had experiences over the years where people have asked my advice, and then I've seen them go on to kind of start their business, and they failed because actually the maths never added up.
That's a really good point.
It's like they would have had to sell like 1,000 hours of their services, but it's only them each month, but it's only them working, and there's not 1,000 working hours in that month.
Yeah.
And it's sad with that sort of thing, because if they just did the calculation at the start, it would have stopped them losing money and all that time going into the idea. So, and it might mean you adapt what you're doing, or the pricing you're planning to go ahead with, or the product that you're selling. So really vital at this stage, like, oh, I'm selling £5 products. I can sell this many a month, and that will make me this much money. And if that covers your costs or your small team's costs, and then there's a profit, then it's like, great, let's move forward with this plan. If it shows a loss, then go back to the drawing board before you go into your marketing strategy, any of that, work out that it's actually going to make money at some point.
Yeah. That's a really good point. And also make sure when you're working out, you're allocating like the cost of acquisition. So what's the cost? What's it going to cost you to market this product or service to actually get customers, rather than just what's it cost to make? Because you need that as well, and the time that you need to invest to do that.
Yeah.
So we've spoken about the who. The next thing would be what. So what platforms are these people using? Where do they consume information? Once you understand who you're targeting and who you want to buy your product and service, where do they go to consume information? And the reason you really need to know that is because this is a way of working backwards to map out a marketing strategy in the places that these people actually spend time. It's pointless if you're someone who manufactures paper and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to have this thing on Twitter and I'm going to sell it through Twitter or through Etsy, but no one goes on Twitter that's in your target market, or no one goes on Etsy to look for paper. It's not going to work. So really start to think about, where do these people actually spend time? And there's a few ways you can do that. One is actually going and speaking to them. So like doing focus groups, or if you haven't got any budget at all, think about your friends and family and your network. Who in your friends, family and network is in that target market that you can send a nice message to and say, hi, Dave, I know you're my cousin's friend, but you're the kind of person we want to sell our product to. Where do you actually go when you're looking for gardening tools? Or do you use TikTok? Or are you on LinkedIn much?
Yeah, gardening, TikTok and LinkedIn, I am.
Good.
Yeah.
There you go.
My favourite things.
Where do you go to look for gardening stuff? A serious question, Lloyd.
Oh, good.
I'm actually thinking this is a bit meta, but
so
if I was a gardening brand, what do you...
Weirdly, gardening tools are one of the only things that I go somewhere in person to a physical location.
Interesting.
And that's because I go to buy plants.
Yeah.
And then they're there conveniently and I can see them and be like, oh, I'll get that. Whereas almost then, everything else I buy online. Very interesting for our listeners.
Yeah. Anyway.
About my gardening. Should we talk about gardening some
more?
more?
No. We're fine that's fine. I think they get the example.
No, honestly, I can.
No, honestly, we're fine. Thank you.
Okay.
So we've got, you've mapped out the who, you've mapped out the what. Then it's the how. How are you going to execute on those platforms to attract new customers? So if you found out that Dave, the gardener, goes in store like Lloyd to buy his gardening products, as part of your marketing strategy, what can you do to get in store in front of Dave when he's looking for gardening tools, so that you can be a potential gardening tool that he would buy? You could reach out to smaller local gardening centres and sort of say, oh, can we have a stall there?
Yeah. Or what can you do to convince me that I don't need to go in store? So what content do I need to see?
Yeah, this.
Because actually, my main thing, I was like, oh, I hold the tools and I can tell they're strong and stuff. If you can show me content that you're like, we're hitting this tool with a hammer and we made an elephant stand on it and it still works, that's probably enough for me
we
to
would
go.
use an elephant, but a bit cruel.
No, not an elephant. I'd put a heavy rock on it. And then that gives me what I need to not have to go in store.
And also, I think something you can be really clever with, and again, this doesn't cost you a huge amount of money, is clever with your copywriting to really speak to Dave. So using this weird example that we've just made up on the spot, Dave the gardener, who goes in store, you could create copy for social that's like, do you usually go in store to buy your tools because you're concerned whether they're strong enough and whether they're whatever reasons you do that for, Lloyd? And then that will draw Dave in, and then you can be like, well, you don't need to do that. You can save 20% by buying it through our store. And we've got videos with rocks on them showing that they're durable.
Yeah. That's the thing. The copy could be like, it could say, did you know our tools are 20% cheaper and 40% stronger than the ones in store?
I mean,
look at this rock on this one.
I don't know about the rock on the tool, if that would actually work.
Well, I'm just saying from Dave's point of view, that's what I would like.
No, what would, in honesty, because I'd be interested if we had a gardening business, what would you need someone to see someone doing a video to show you that it's strong enough or whatever that you want to see to prove that you would normally, do you like tap it on something or?
Oh, what would I need to, but I do think it would be something more extreme than I would ever do with it.
Right. Okay.
So if it's a thing
lob it at the wall.
dig holes, be like, yeah, I'm going to dig through concrete with it by whacking it against it. Or like finding something that's normally very durable, and destroying it with it because it's so strong. I don't know.
It's like, have you seen that really famous ad where there's a big tank of water and it's like the tape and he like slaps it on the hole.
Puts this tiny bit of tape on this tsunami basically. Like, oh, it's starting. Yeah. I wonder if that actually works. If it does,
I think this is a really good point actually, in terms of going into a bit more detail, a type of content you can create to overcome objections that could be used on your product pages of your website or for social media and that kind of thing.
Another one of my objections would be now how negative or positive the effect on the planet is from that. So my purchasing decisions at my point in life, how much money I have and my values are, I want to find something that I can use for the next 20 years that isn't going to break and that also hasn't been made by, like children being paid 2 pence an hour. So it's, you create content around, how is this manufactured? Why is it better for the planet than the ones I'm driving down the road to the shop for? This
is really making me think. We mentioned a key thing of strategy is understanding the who. Imagine how valuable it would be to an actual gardening company to speak to someone like you, who is, do you know what I mean? Like all of this really detailed info you're providing is so valuable for the marketer from that gardening company.
And so many businesses don't ask any questions like this.
Yeah.
It's kind of, they tell you what they want to tell you, not what actually you need to make the decision to buy it.
It's making me think, literally going through this, that this is really valuable for your marketing perspective. Yeah, cool. Okay, so that's the broad kind of way I'd look at the strategy, keeping it simple. The who, the what in terms of where they are and where they spend their time, and then how are you going to execute on those platforms? And again, you've got no budget, so you need to do this for free. There's tons of websites and resources and things like, if you're looking to learn everything about social media marketing, socialmediaexaminer.com. If you're looking at content marketing in general, Content Marketing Institute is a great website. There's loads of YouTubers and creators that show you how to use all these platforms. So yeah, you utilize those free resources online to learn that how bit, because you need to use the time you have because you don't have budget, obviously. So in terms of what we would do if we're starting a new business, there's a few things I've thought about.
Oh, there's a few things I've thought about.
Okay, cool. Well, let's start with you. You. What kind of things would you do? Or
I would do unscalable one-on-one conversations. So
Okay.
if you've got a massive business, it's very hard to do this. But if you're starting out and you've got time, I think it can be crazily effective. So this is something you can, depending on your business, you can do this in person with people, or you can do this on social, messaging people, commenting on things. But say I own a cafe that I'm opening up, and it's just me and my wife, and we're the only ones working in it. We haven't got a team yet or anything like that. What we can do when a customer comes in, we can have detailed conversations to try and maximize how much they'll spend with our business in the future and how many people they'll tell about our business. And this isn't something you can do when you have a hugely busy cafe and you're really busy and you've got a big business. But when you're quiet and you're starting out, you can, so say someone comes in from the business across the road, that business has 55 employees, 55 potential customers. I would be telling that person, oh yeah, we're a local couple. We've just started this cafe. We're really trying to get more people to eat locally because it's something we feel strongly about. And we're trying to create better quality food than, like McDonald's down the road and stuff. We want to provide really great quality and great tasting food. And then give them an opportunity, give them a reason to tell other people about it. Oh, and by the way, if you're from that business over the road, tell everyone their first coffee they can have half price, or they can have for free. Give them a reason to say, oh, by the way, all of us get half price coffees over there the first time we go. I think when your business is bigger, you don't have time to keep having these conversations. But when it's small, if it's an online business, it can be it can be DMs saying to people, oh, I've seen you're really interested in this. You've created this great thing in your garden. I love how many cucumbers you've grown. I'm doing this business. I've just started out with my wife making these tools, but have a look if you can.
Yeah.
I think you can't scale that, but at this stage, you can invest a lot of time in that and it can have a massive effect.
I love that. That's a really good one.
Have you got one that's just as good, even better?
Well, maybe. My starting point for this, so got no budget, but need to bring in new business for my new business. I'd look at how other people have done this really effectively to get inspiration. So, for example, one of the ones that really pops to mind whenever I think about brands that have really grown dramatically with minimal budget, Thursday, the dating app. So Thursday's basically a dating app where I think you only use it on a Thursday to hook up with people, and you go on dates on a Thursday, and then the rest of the week you can't use it. And when you look at their marketing, they've been really creative with the way they've done these viral stunts in London, where they have people dressed up as stuff and have big signposts on them with witty creative. And definitely look at what they've done because it's really interesting. They also have had some slack. Have you seen recently they asked copywriters to come up with ideas for their print ads for free, and all the creative communities you're not paying.
Happy. But it's probably that thing that all PR is good PR. They're getting a lot of people talking about them, and
They also, again, another thing they did, they got hired a camel in central London and had it with a sign and had some witty sign on it, and then all the kind of animal people were
don't copy everything.
I'll give it a round of you here, Lloyd.
Bits. Yeah.
But something
no camels.
A really specific thing you can do is listen to the Social Minds podcast. The founder of Thursday went on to Social Minds and talked through in detail their approach to marketing, and it's really interesting and useful. So that would be one of my first steps. Just look at other people that have done stuff. So I'd be thinking, they've been doing these viral stunts. Maybe we should try a viral stunt. Let's dress Lloyd naked in a weird outfit and put it in the middle of the town.
That'll definitely get us customers. That won't scare anyone off. You're such a good marketer then.
Is this weird naked man?
Piggybacking on this, it's very similar to one of my points I wanted to communicate, and it's I know I've mentioned this. It's something I feel quite strongly about finding inspiration from the best, not from people in the industry you're in. So, like Dan's saying, look for inspiration from the people that have done this best and emulate that with your marketing. But looking at what Gymshark doing to reach new customers. So a business like that's grown crazily over the last few years. What does McDonald's do in store to make you spend a bit more? Oh, they ask if you want to go large and it's only extra 20p, but you do it, and they offer you, there's a McFlurry, that'll be nice, it's only an extra £1. finding parts of really successful businesses and emulating that, and obviously focusing on marketing for this. How are they reaching new customers, those really successful companies, and how are the best TikTokers in the world getting eyes on their TikToks? Can you emulate that? If you emulate that at 1%, you'll be smashing it.
Can I give you a really specific example that just made me think of?
You can.
That a company that's doing this really well, that's tiny in our local area that I use, and it's to do with what you said before about the one-on-one conversations. So we've signed up to a nursery recently that my son goes to, and it's brilliant. It's such a good nursery. And something they do incredibly well is those one-on-one conversations. When you drop your child off, they have a nice conversation with you and ask, is everything okay with him? How's he been? Did he sleep all right? And they go, and you kind of like taken away a bit, like, oh, they're really interested. And then when you pick him up, they give you a detailed insight into all the fun stuff he's done today and how he was. And he was making mud cakes the other day, and he really liked this, and he did really well with his speaking. And they go that extra mile with that, with kind of making an effort to speak to you. And I think that didn't cost them anything. That's like a low budget or free way of making, and I'm talking about it now. I'm literally promoting their business because they've really had that impact on me. Goes back to your cafe example.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I've seen recently.
Again, that's one of my points I had. I think it's so important and it's making, so I describe it as making your customers do your marketing. Focus at that point when your business is small at making their experience so good that they're going to market your business for you by telling their friends and their family and their podcast listeners how good you are. I think that's, at the early stages of business, you don't have a big team of people to do your marketing. You have customers, or you're trying to get customers. You've got a few customers. That first customer might tell 2 people, and then those 2 people might tell 2 or 3 people, and making sure that they're focusing on making sure their experience is much better than they expect, so they're going to talk about it and do your marketing for you. Word of mouth marketing when you're starting out with a business, I think, especially with social, how that can explode from your customers as well is something to really focus on.
Yeah. Another thing I'd really focus on, so thinking of social media, the lowest barrier way to reach the most amount of people for free is by using TikTok. Like I would really spend time consuming content on TikTok, learning what types of content work, and trying and testing creating my own content. So for example, let's say you've just started a business where you're hand making watches and you're selling them on Etsy. I would be like, the type of things I've seen on TikTok that really pop in the kind of creative world is videos showing the process of creating your product. So like it could be a time-lapse video showing you making your hand thingied watch. It could be a video of you talking through all the different designs you've made and that kind of thing. I would definitely be going, because the opportunity to reach thousands and thousands of people for free is massive on there.
I would say as well, so that's right now for May, June 2022, but there's always somewhere on the internet, or there's always a platform that it is cheapest and easiest to get attention from your target market.
Used to be Facebook.
Yeah, for our business, it used to be Facebook, and in years to come, it's been LinkedIn. It's just been the cheapest and easiest place for us to get attention in our target market. But it may be a platform, or it may be a new feature of a platform that they're pushing. So normally when social platforms, when they all introduce stories, suddenly stories was the easiest place. On Instagram, we're finding Instagram Reels to be the place that's easiest on that platform to currently get eyes on our content. So whenever you're listening to this or watching this, there will be somewhere, and it will probably only take a couple of Google searches to work out, where is it currently the cheapest and easiest to get eyes on my brand from my target market? There's always somewhere, and it will change over time. It won't always be TikTok. There'll be something new, or an old platform will really up their game with a certain feature, and it'll be a new place.
Another thing I'd also be thinking about is like my own set of skills. So we're advising you all this stuff that we would do because that's where our skills lie. But you may be like a wicked writer, and you could make a wicked blog that could help attract new business, or you could be really good at speaking on on camera, or you could be really confident and you could speak at different events, or you could make videos where you're speaking to camera. You could build a YouTube audience. So really try to think at what are your skills and where would they both best be matched to in terms of platforms. What else would you do, Lloyd? We've just started a business with no budget.
Yeah.
What would you be thinking about? Anything else?
I'd probably just be thinking about the things I'd already said, Dan.
Okay, good. They were really good.
Yeah, I'd probably just, if I had a little while longer to prepare some more points, I might do other things.
Well, something else I'll do while you're thinking about that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Is your personal brand. And this kind of merges in with some of the things we've said before about having those one-to-one conversations. I would be thinking about how can you build your... And by personal brand, inverted commas, I know it sounds a bit kind of wanky, and we've done episodes on this before, but your personal brand is just your reputation. How can you build your reputation in your town, in your community, wherever it, on Pinterest, wherever it is you're trying to sell your products and services? How can you build a reputation where it attracts new customers? People are looking at what you're saying and they're thinking, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about when it comes to handmade watches. I'm going to look at their website. Oh, they've got some really cool handmade watches. I'm going to buy one. So really, try and think about how you can build your personal brand. And we've done a whole episode on this. I don't know which one it was. It was a while ago. So look for that episode and listen to that if you want to know more kind of practical tips around building your personal brand.
I have got a point. I didn't.
Okay, go on then.
Yeah, sorry about that. Just in marketing a new business, having the long-term mindset over short-term mindset constantly, it's been something that's helped us grow our business much quicker than we would have done without this mindset. And by quicker, it's weird because at first it's not quicker, and then it is. Things that we've grown this podcast over like a year and a half, and if you looked at the return on investment at first, it wouldn't have been worth it, but we could see the opportunity and things going in the right direction. And so we stuck with it and invested the time and the effort because we had that long-term mindset thinking, well, if we keep going like this, we could have this many people listening in our target market and they could be introduced to us and what we do and what we know, and they could become customers and help us grow our business. And I think that's just been so key along our whole business journey and through other business owners that I've spoken to. It's been the same thing. Yeah. And it's hard sometimes because you might be able to make a bit more money this month if you did something looking at the short term, whereas long term, in 2 years, you'll make double what you were making before.
Yeah. I think my final point with all of the things we've said is for this to be effective, whatever you do, you need some kind of way of measuring the success of all of this stuff you're trying. Because if you're trying all of these different things we've said and you have no idea what's working, what isn't, you're not going to improve because you're going to focus the same amount of energy on all the different things and tactics and platforms that we've mentioned. So set up something that monitors, use the analytics in social platforms. When a customer comes to you, ask them how they discovered you. And try and monitor these things so that you have an idea of what's working, what isn't. And then you can start to invest more time in the things that are working, less in the things that aren't, and have some spare time to try new things and kind of follow that process. And that's what's really helped our growth over the last 2 years is getting better at doing more of the stuff that's working and testing new things and stopping things that aren't working.
That's a really great point, because if you can just know how much time and money you're investing in this thing and how much money that's creating income to your business and how much time and money you're putting in this thing and how much that's creating, it makes it so easy to make those decisions on what to keep on doing and what to change and what to adapt.
Yeah.
Great point, Dan.
Hopefully you found this useful. If you do like this podcast, please do tell your friends and post about it on social and do all that stuff that helps us out. It's really useful to us, isn't it, Lloyd?
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, probably more than you. I like it.
Well, you win. Well done.
Thank you. Should we see them in their ears next week?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll see you in your ears next week.